8-4 is what we are. That was one heck of a win right there. And I got to tell you, man, I'm just thankful you overcame my coaching decisions. And I just wanted, hey, you know how big that win is? You've been ever have a bigger win than that right there. That was huge.
They also did a little round of for He's a Jolly Good Fellow after Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers went to Atlanta and beat the Falcons. And look, tough spot for the Chargers. Short week after losing. Or beating the Ravens.
No, they lost.
They lost the Ravens.
Right. Tough week.
I'm trying to forget that I got it wrong last week.
Yeah,
that we both got it wrong.
Did.
They lost the Ravens. They traveled cross country. The Falcons coming off the bye.
Yeah.
And they went in there and they took care of business. It was closer than it should have been considering they intercepted Kirk Cousins 4 times. And Derwin James told me after the game that they changed up their looks. They would show pressure, drop into a blitz, and then or drop into zone and then blitz out of that. Like they were doing all sorts of different things, and it worked. It worked. The pick 6 that Cousins threw was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
He sees the guy there who's getting ready to pick the ball off.
Hey, Kirk Cousins, it's rare you see him play like he did yesterday. We all know, he might not be throwing laser beams and sidearm highlight, bombs down the field and all of that. But one thing he always does is makes good decisions and puts the ball kind of where it's supposed to be. Yesterday, he looked flustered. He looked confused. There's some of your disguise you're talking about right there. Kind of showed the blitz. They drop back into his zone. I don't know. Cousins doesn't recognize it. But he threw the ball, and the guy was there even then. There was a few plays and throws during the game where you just go, I've never seen Kirk Cousins make a decision that bad. I mean, he threw the ball into a mosh pit a number of times yesterday, let alone the arm looked a little weak yesterday. The ball fluttered in the air. Atlanta played better than the Chargers, right? It goes back into the old adage. You don't always have to go win a football game. Sometimes teams just find a way to lose it, and that kind of is what it felt like yesterday. I mean, from the get-go, the first drive of the game, Kirk Cousins, they drive down the field. He's got a wide-open pass over the middle for a touchdown. They miss it, and then it ends up missing a short chip shot field goal. But look at some of these plays, these decisions. I mean, just not what you're accustomed to seeing from one of the better pocket passing quarterbacks we've seen in football over the last 10 years. So that was shocking. And on a day where it felt like the Chargers offense did not have it, they couldn't run the ball, no Josh Dobbins, right? Trying to find their way passing the football.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins, sorry.
Josh Dobbs, J.K. Dobbins.
Right, you're right. I combined them. But I think on that kind of day, the Chargers offense didn't have it, but the defense came through in a big way, and they were clutch.
3 straight games without a touchdown for the first time in his career. They had 2 wins in a row. They beat the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. He had 7 touchdowns and no interceptions in those 2 games.
Yeah.
3 straight losses since, and they were 6-3. They were sitting pretty. They got the division in hand. There's nobody else that's going to challenge them. Loss and loss and loss. And it started with that loss to the Saints, which they should have won. They outplayed the Saints and should have won that game.
Right.
Blown out off the field going into the bye against the Broncos.
Right.
And I just wonder,
where's the psyche at?
Did that just break them? Did they think, you know what? All we really can do here is win this division, and who cares? We're going to go get embarrassed by somebody in the playoffs. And I know that they don't entertain those thoughts consciously. This is the stuff that can kind of creep in subconsciously.
Yeah.
We can, and deep down, at some level of your being, we still have more work to do to get to be the team that can compete with the Eagles. And even though they beat the Eagles, that was a long time ago in week 2.
Different world.
The Lions,
time.
right?
Yeah.
So, and they're going to find out this week. This is going to be tough for them. Riding a 3-game losing streak into Minnesota for the Kirk Cousins homecoming game. I asked Cam Bynum about this. Who's got the edge? You guys know Kirk. Kirk knows you. He thinks it's a wash. I think that the defensive coordinator who's there now, Brian Flores, was just there for 1 year with Cousins.
Right.
And we can see, Flores is going to devour every nanosecond of film from yesterday and try to duplicate what the Chargers did to mess with Kirk. Or
he'll find his own way to do it.
Figure out how Kirk will react to what happened yesterday and stay a step ahead of him. Yeah. And, this is all we zig, we zag. They think we're going to zag, we zig. Oh, wait, we think they're going to do that, so we do this. And, and just confuse him. Come up with a way to confuse him because he can be confused. That's what we saw yesterday. He can be confused.
It's rare. You see that. But, he was confused. And, Minnesota confuses a lot of people. Hey, the bottom line is this. We know the Chargers need more out of their receivers on offense, right? We know that. The other part of this is to Atlanta, and just to switch it there, and is Atlanta's offense has to be better. Atlanta's offense is where a lot of the assets are. It's Kyle Pitts. It's a top 5 pick. It's Drake London. It's a top 10 pick. It's Bijan Robinson, top 10 pick. It's Kirk Cousins, $90 gazillion dollars. The offensive line's got first rounders and money everywhere. For them to be laying eggs like 6 points in Denver and yesterday 13 points, that is the problem with the football team right now. Their defense isn't supposed to be the part of the team that carries them. Their defense is at its best, and when they were winning games, when the offense was scoring points, the defense would bend, and Raheem Morris and them would do something creative to kind of get one turnover to give the Falcons offense one more possession than the other team, and that's when they win. As we've seen here late, people are starting to catch on to the offense. And, Mike, here's the other thing I'll just throw out to you. All those names I just mentioned, they're not an explosive offense. It's always work for them to go down the field. As good as Bijan Robinson is, he's just full of 8- and 10-yard runs. He misses the extra rocket up his ass like Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Exactly. Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan Robinson from that fact.
Remember what a stretch it was viewed as?
I know.
When the
I
Lions,
put them in the same tier, and people thought I was crazy that I put them in the same tier. But, yeah, that's their problem. Every drive is 11 plays, 65 yards, 12 plays, 68 yards. They can never take the pressure off. Nobody can catch a slant and run for a touchdown, do any of that, and that's coming back to bite them in the butt right now.
You're right. The Chargers need more work to do. They should have won that game by when you force 4 interceptions and allow no touchdown passes, you should win by double digits.
No, they're off. Yeah, you're right. Their offense is it's Lad McConkey.
And we saw it on Monday night when they were trying to will their way back
and
into
try
the
to
game
get
against
Quentin
the
Johnston
Ravens.
going.
Yeah, they just
and
can't
all
get it
that.
going. Quentin Johnston's dropping passes.
Right, exactly.
They just don't have the guys to go along with Justin Herbert. And Herbert has, this is a very obscure stat, but I like it, 10 straight games without an interception. Third guy ever to do that with 15 or more attempts on average.
Wow.
Tom Brady and Derek Carr are the other two to go 10 games without an interception with that many throws.
Stay in the course, running the offense, not going, I got to do
Jim
this.
Harbaugh.
That's Harbaugh, right. Hey, if he's open, just throw it to him. Don't worry that we haven't been doing good, or don't feel the pressure that you got to make the play. I got a team around you now, Justin Herbert. We're not the Chargers. We don't Charger anymore. We're the Chargers, and we make the Falcons look like they're the Chargers. That's what we do now, and that's what they're doing. And good for Justin Herbert. But yeah, they definitely need some more weapons around him as they go forward. We know
this
that.
came up briefly last night on Football Night in America. At what point do they have the conversation about benching Cousins for Michael Penix Jr.? How many more losses? How many more games without a touchdown pass and multiple interceptions before they say, let's just see what the guy that we believed in with the 8th overall pick can do?
I feel like it's going to be hard with them because they're going to be in the conversation here because the NFC South is so wide open, like we talked about with the NFC West before, where they're going to be in this. And I don't know if you're really doing justice to Michael Penix by throwing him out there in that kind of, hey, it's the end of the year now, and hey, we're still in this, and you're kind of you're putting him in a very tough spot, is what I'm saying. I don't know if I'd want to do that. Is it a tough spot, or is it
no lose?
Well, it is lose if you feel like you can still go to the playoffs and do that, and then you don't go to the playoffs, and maybe he doesn't look good, and then we go into the offseason going, man, Kirk Cousins stuck, and now Michael Penix didn't even look good at the end of the year. What the hell's going on there?
Penix, not
Penix. I know. Say
not Penix.
It was a little close there. I'm just speaking fast.
It's an important letter change.
Yeah.
But at least you didn't pronunciate it or pronounce it the same way. How about this?
Yeah.
Twist on the situation.
Yeah.
They stick with Cousins. They don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
What happens next year?
Yeah, that's going to be – I think we'll see Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
that's where I feel like they'll try to make a move. Something will happen.
When they drafted him 8th overall – and, this could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years that he's on the bench. Well, it's not going to be more than 3.
No.
It won't be more than 3.
It won't be more than 2.
The question is, will it be 2 or will it be 1?
That's right.
And I think it comes down to the next 5 games.
I would agree with that.
Kirk Cousins controls whether it's going to be 2 years on the bench for Michael Penix Jr. or 1. And he's got a very tradable contract. I know he's got a no-trade clause, but if the choices are you stay here and you're benched – or you go somewhere else and you play, that no-trade clause ends up potentially getting waived because he's going to want to play, period. Or, the next thing you know, you're treated like Daniel Jones. Yeah, you're here, but you don't get any practice reps.
Yeah, sure.
And you have a curtailed lifting program. And
Right,
at some
right.
point, you're going to beg them to trade you. So I think the rest of this season, and even if they make the playoffs, like if they make the playoffs at 8-9 or 9-8, and they
it's
lose
still,
badly in the wild card
right,
round, I
right.
think we're in the same spot as if they don't make it anyway. But all of a sudden, 3 games. Like, we focus on different things during football season, and different things capture our attention, and we kind of forget about this and we forget about that. We kind of put to rest the idea that Penix is going to supplant Cousins sooner than later because Cousins was good enough early on. And now it's like we wake up, it's December 2nd, it's like,
Yeah, right.
Michael Penix Jr.
Right.
might be the starter sooner than later. Not this year necessarily, but week 1 of 2025, because it's going to be hard to justify a second year with Kirk.
that door
if
is
this
cracked
year,
open if it
this year
continues, right.
continues on the path that it's currently on. And he can change everything. That's the beauty of this. 6 days to Sunday. He can change everything, reverse the narrative for a game that I think a lot of people will be paying attention to. Even though it didn't get top billing on Fox, it was Panthers at whoever. Is like when they prioritize the games on the graphic, it's like, I think Falcons at Vikings is a pretty significant game.
Yeah. Definitely better than Panthers anything, for
Yeah.
sure.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.